Zoro, 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 Zoro. The funny thing is, I feel like whenever a Zoro conversation comes up, it ends up being really controversial. Because you guys, and yes I'm talking about you Zoro fans, always end up getting overly emotional and don't like any Zoro criticism whatsoever. However, this video is not a video to slander Zoro, even though I do have a lot to say about him. But this video is just a discussion looking at who his true goal is, and that's by looking at both Mihawk and Rayleigh. Now before I get started, as usual, make sure you leave a like on the video as it helps so much with that YouTube algorithm. And make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can remain up to date whenever I, Mr Premps, drop more content just like this. And as most of you are probably aware by now, I'm a huge advocate of the Void Century Club, who are one of my favourite One Piece forums, and growing by day. So if you like One Piece discussions, I'll leave a link to the forum down in the description. And now the formalities are out of the way, let's get into the video. Now I know what you're all thinking, Mr Premps has no idea what he's talking about. Obviously Mihawk is Zoro's true goal. Zoro told us right from the beginning that he wanted to be the world's greatest swordsman, and his goal was never to be a pirate. So how the heck could his goal be Rayleigh? In fact, Zoro was actually known as the Pirate Hunter when we first met him, but let's not act like people's goals can't change. Now apologies in advance if as this video progresses, it sounds like I'm jumping all over the place, but my aim is to provide a brief overview of Zoro, followed by some comparisons to Mihawk, and then his comparisons to Rayleigh. Now after these comparisons are made, I think we'll be able to form some sort of conclusion, and I'll give you my opinion, and of course you have every right to not agree with me, but don't just disagree to disagree, and make sure you let me know in the comments your opinions and why. So first of all, let's take a look at Zoro. We first met Zoro in One Piece manga chapter number 3, all the way back in the Romance Dawn arc. Zoro is a swordsman and first mate of Luffy, meaning second member of the crew and more than likely the second strongest combatant of the Straw Hat Pirates. Zoro, however, was actually introduced to us by a different epithet, and that's the Pirate Hunter, which is one of the more ironic things about Zoro, given that he himself is now a pirate. In terms of character, Zoro is one of the more quieter members of the crew, and outside of those epic cool moments we get from him, we usually see him sleeping, training, drinking, or just plain out being lost. However, Zoro is a beast when it comes to strength, with what we believe to be unlimited or untapped potential. From what we know of his backstory, we find out that Zoro grew up in the East Blue, in Shimotsuki village. However, we're unsure as to how he actually got here and the origins of his family, such as his parents. However, we do see him training in the dojo. Zoro being touted as one of the strongest of all the students in the dojo was not enough for him, as he understood that he was not the most skilled, and that was in fact the daughter of his master, Kuina. And not only was she more skilled, but she was better by far, with us being told that they had over 2,000 matches against each other, and Zoro was unable to beat her even once. So you're probably asking yourself, why is this important to Zoro's goal? Well, in Zoro's backstory, he actually challenged Kuina to another match, with real swords this time, and as you probably all know, Kuina indeed beat him again. However, this led to them having a heart-to-heart chat. Kuina explained her dream was to be the world's strongest swordsman, alongside her frustrations that it would never happen as she was a female. However, Zoro, being the stubborn brat that he was, refused to believe this and made a pact with Kuina that one day one of them would be the greatest swordsman. However, the following day after this pact was made, Kuina passed away, falling down some stairs, and honestly, for me this was a ridiculous way for her to die, which probably fuels some of our thoughts that she could be alive. However, that is a topic for another day and we shan't go into it now. The oath following this pact that the two made has fueled Zoro to date, and he is led to believe that he is the only one alive to fulfill this promise. Zoro, with the permission of his master, took Kuina's blade, Wado Ichimonji, which, as a side note, I believe will be the blade that Zoro turns black, and over time has been on his journey to become the world's greatest swordsman. Which actually leads me to the topic of Mihawk. Now, following Luffy's journey to Shellstown, we met Zoro. And following everything that happened there with Helmeppo and his father Axe-Hand Morgan, Zoro joined Luffy. And if we fast forward their journey to the Baratie arc, we were introduced to Mihawk, who some people call the world's strongest swordsman and others call the world's greatest swordsman. But I'm going to stick with the viz which says greatest. And the rest of you can argue in the comments as to whatever you want to call him. However, we do find out that Mihawk was the man that Zoro had been seeking all along. With Mihawk hardly acknowledging Zoro, he made it clear that his desire to fight him was not only ambition but a promise made to her friends, who we know was Kuina. So ultimately, I don't think there's too much to say in regards to Zoro and Mihawk. It's clear that Mihawk holds the title that Zoro wants, and it's been his goal since a child to attain this. Now, I know I've been saying however a lot. However, Zoro meeting up with Luffy was the spanner in the work, and the reason why I bring in the Rayleigh comparison. Rayleigh was the first mate of the Pirate King Gol D Roger, and Zoro is the first mate of the man who intends to find the One Piece and become the Pirate King, Monkey D. Luffy. Now, as with Zoro, Rayleigh did not intend to become a pirate and actually turned down Roger when he initially asked him to join his crew. In fact, he laughed at first and then declined Roger. Similar to Shellstown, where Luffy asked Zoro to join and he declined until eventually he joined due to the circumstances. Now, as with Zoro, Rayleigh was known to be one of the more serious members of the crew and was in charge of disciplining the younger members such as Shanks and Buggy. And here I bring up early foreshadowing of a young Momonosuke joining the crew and being disciplined by who else but Zoro. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. But what I'm trying to get at is that Oda draws parallels in the story, and Rayleigh commanding the respect of his captain to the extent that Roger called him his partner is the route that it appears that Zoro is going down. To the point that Zoro now looks to sacrifice his own ambitions in order to support his captain to become king of the pirates. I mean, with all the pride that Zoro has, he went to the man he was looking to surpass in order to train him so that he could be strong enough to support Luffy. Now, Zoro has made it clear to us many times that he's serious about supporting his own desires, but also the desires of his captain. He's made it evident that Luffy should not tolerate any disrespect from any of the members, and they should respect the hierarchy of Luffy as captain. Particularly post that Luffy vs Usopp fight, which I must say was such a good fight. But the question is, who is Zoro's goal? And to give you my answer, I think neither. I believe Oda has set the story up for us to believe that Mihawk is ultimately Zoro's true goal. But if I look at the story, I believe that Zoro is on his own path, and the reason is because of his circumstances. His circumstances are completely different. We don't know what Mihawk's true intentions are in the story. In fact, we don't actually know much about him in general. And what I'd love to know is what led him to becoming the world's greatest swordsman, and whether that was always his true intention. Because we know what's driving Zoro, but that's not his sole goal. Zoro now has a responsibility to support his captain's journey, and in tandem, that will help him achieve his own goal. Furthermore, we don't know the depth of Roger's relationship with Rayleigh, but we do know that they had a close relationship, so much to the extent that Rayleigh couldn't bear to see him die. In addition to this, we know that Rayleigh was an absolute monster, to the extent that to capture him even now in his old age, they believe it would take some serious preparation. So come the end of the story, I would expect Zoro to surpass both Rayleigh and Mihawk, and be the hybrid combination of the two. In fact, just thinking about it gets me really excited. But on the flip side, I don't want One Piece to stop anytime soon, so I'll just enjoy the journey as it comes. But I guess that brings my thoughts to the end. I would love to know what you all think. Who do you think Zoro's goal is? Is it Mihawk or is it Rayleigh? Or do you think it's something else? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, if you like anything I've had to say, please make sure you leave a like on the video, and if you would like to see more content just like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss out when I drop more gems just like this. Safe.